A quiet, moonlit riverside. The philosopher and Arjun sit on a large rock, watching the gentle ripples on the water. Arjun looks at the philosopher expectantly and asked,
Master, I have a question. What is the greatest illusion in life?
Philosopher smiles and replied,
Ah, my dear Arjun, that is a question philosophers have debated for centuries. Some say wealth, some say love, and others say power. But let me tell you a story before you decide.
In the kingdom of Mahadweep, there lived a man named Ketan. He was neither rich nor poor, neither famous nor forgotten. He was a simple man, but he carried within him an unusual obsession. He was terrified of his own shadow. As a child, he had once looked at his shadow, stretching long behind him at sunset, and felt as though it were chasing him. From that day on, he believed that the shadow was an omen of bad luck, always following him, watching him, waiting for the right moment to strike. As he grew older, his fear became unbearable. He refused to step outside when the sun was high, lest his shadow appear beside him. He avoided candlelight at night, fearing the flickering silhouettes on the walls. His life was ruled by an unseen enemy, one that never left his side. One day, a traveling sage came to Mahadweep. Ketan, hearing of the sage's wisdom, went to him and pleaded for help.
Great sage, I am cursed. No matter where I go, my shadow follows me. It haunts me day and night. Please, tell me how to escape it.
The sage listened patiently, and then replied with smiles.
There is a way, my son. If you wish to be free from your shadow, you must chase the sun. Run towards the light, and your shadow will always be behind you.
Ketan's eyes widened with hope. From that moment on, he dedicated his life to running towards the light. He woke up before dawn and ran eastward, chasing the rising sun. He continued throughout the day, always facing the sun, never looking back. Years passed, and Ketan became known as the madman who chased the sun. People pitied him, some laughed at him, but he ignored them all. His only goal was to stay ahead of his shadow. Then, one fateful evening, as the sun began to set, Ketan realized something terrible. No matter how fast he ran, the sun would eventually disappear. And when it did, darkness would consume everything. His shadow, which he had spent his life avoiding, would finally catch him. As the last ray of sunlight faded beyond the horizon, Ketan collapsed to his knees. His shadow stretched long before him, no longer behind but in front. For the first time in his life, he faced it. And in that moment, he understood. He had spent his entire life running from something that had never truly threatened him. His fear had been an illusion, a prison of his own making. With a final breath, Ketan whispered,
I have spent my whole life running, but from what?
And as the stars appeared in the sky, the man who had chased the sun lay still, his shadow merging into the darkness of the night. After finishes the story, Arjun deep in thought, and asked,
Master, Ketan wasted his life running from something that was never a real danger, didn't he?
Philosopher replied to Arjun,
Yes, my child. Just like many people waste their lives chasing illusions, running from their fears, avoiding truths, or seeking things that do not truly bring happiness.
Then Arjun asked curiously,
But Master, how does one know what is real and what is an illusion?
Philosopher replied with smiling,
By standing still and facing it, just as Ketan should have done long ago. Fear grows when you run, but when you turn and face it, you often find it was never as terrifying as you thought.
Arjun, nodding slowly and told,
I understand. From now on, I will not run from my fears. I will face them.
Philosopher advised him, that is the first step to true wisdom.